The term aircraft applies to any and all vehicles of the air, things in which we ride in the air. Aircraft may be divided into two main classes, called lighter than aircraft and heavier than aircraft. The lighter than aircraft are those whose weight is supported by buoyancy, that is, whose weight is less than that of the air they displace. These are in two subclasses: balloons, which have no power and merely drift with the wind, and dirigibles, which have engines and propellers and are steerable. Dirigible means steerable. Heavier than aircraft are those whose weight is supported dynamically, that is, by means of motion. They may be divided into three general classes. One class is waterplanes, which are designed to take off from and land on water only. Another is land planes, which are designed to take off from and land on the ground only. The third is amphibians, which are designed to take off from and land on either the water or ground. Waterplanes are of two general types. Some have floats, the two cigar-shaped tanks of air on which the plane rests. The floats take the place of wheels. Other waterplanes are really flying boats. The body of the plane itself rests on the water. Heavier than aircraft may be divided also into two general classes, which we might call bladed planes and winged planes. Bladed planes are supported principally by rotors of 3 or 4 long narrow blades, which you see whirling over the top of the plane. This type is called an autogyro. The blades of its rotor rotate automatically and are not connected with the engine. Autogyro means self-rotating. The autogyro gets its forward motion from a propeller in front, like an ordinary plane. This is another type of bladed plane called the helicopter. It is the only plane that can fly forward, backward, or sidewise. It has no propeller, but is propelled by the rotor, which is geared directly to the engine. The helicopter can take off and land vertically, and can hover in one spot as long as the pilot wishes. Here the pilot is having a wheel changed. Winged planes are also of two general types. Powered planes, those which have engines and propellers, and gliders, which have no engine or propeller, and so merely coast or glide down the air. With the help of rising air currents, the gliders can soar like an eagle and remain in the air a long time. Planes with engines and propellers are called powered craft. Powered craft with one engine are called single engine. Those with more than one engine are called multi-engine. Here is a special kind of aircraft, the parachute, sometimes called the life preserver of the sky. Being heavier than air, it sinks gradually to earth. Having no propeller, it drifts with the wind, although it can be steered a little by manipulating the ropes. These lessons in aeronautics deal principally with single-engine winged land planes, the kind in which flying instruction is usually first given. You doubtless feel satisfied that you know what makes an airplane go forward, how the propeller, pushing backward on the air, pulls the plane forward. It is the same as the propeller of a motorboat, pushing back on the water and thereby pushing the boat forward. You may wonder, however, what holds the plane up in the air. We give you here a very simple explanation. In a later lesson, the matter is treated more fully. Perhaps you have seen this sport of skiing on the water behind a motorboat. Notice that the skis are always pointing slightly upward, like this. If the water strikes the underside of the skis fast enough, the lifting force of the water is enough to sustain the skier's weight. If the skier should slow down, the lifting force would be reduced, and the skier would sink into the water. Also, when a kite is flown, it is at a slight slant, and the wind striking the underside holds it up. When the wind dies down, down comes the kite. A plane is held up in somewhat the same manner as the skier or the kite. That is, the wings of a plane are set at a slight slant, as you can see by the end view of the wing on this plane. In flight, if the air strikes the underside of the wings with enough speed, the force created is enough to hold up the weight of the plane. The propeller bites into the air and pulls the plane. Just as the rope from the motorboat pulls the skier. If a plane is not propelled rapidly enough, it begins to sink in the air and goes into a dive. We call this stalling. This plane just stalled. The necessary speed of forward motion to enable a plane to fly is called flying speed. Flying speed is usually not less than 35 or 40 miles an hour. If a plane stalls, it pitches forward and dives of its own accord. Then, if it is high enough above the ground, it will regain flying speed. It can then be leveled up and the flying resumed. We spoke earlier about the tilt of an airplane wing. It is possible for an airplane wing to get lift even without any slant at all, but the explanation requires a study of airfoils and streamlines and is reserved for a later lesson.